Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Review. I am David Allen. Thank you for joining me. So far, we have Bobby World and we have Lone Dragon. Let's see. Thank you, guys. Did you see Cold Slither is back up on Paul's website for the last day and a half? Yes, I was able to get 2 of them. Thank you. Somebody posted it the other day. I was able to get a couple pre-ordered. That was the minimum you could pre-order. Thank you, Bobby Wold. I appreciate that. Lone Dragon. I saw Pulse randomly decided it doesn't remember my credit card number anymore and made me miss the low stock Savage Land 3-pack earlier. Yeah, that's a very weird set. I want that set, but the problem with that set is I have that Sauron already, the build of Sauron. So, I want that Rogue Savage Land and I want the Shanna, the She-Devil, to go with Khazar and Zabu. But I'm like, I'm not going to spend that much money on that 3-pack. So I'm going to see if I can wait. Maybe it'll be cheaper on like a Pulse sale, Hasbro Pulse sale, or someplace else, Lone Dragon. So I wouldn't be too fussed about it because it's a very expensive set, especially for a figure that most people already have, that Sauron. You're basically paying that for 2 figures because most people have that. So I don't know. It's a weird set. I really want that Rogue Savage Land. And I really want that Shanna, but I'm not going to spend like $135 or whatever it is with shipping and handling and all that. Even on Pulse with free shipping, it's still like $125 or something like that. So I don't know. It's a weird set, but we're here to talk about a bunch of weird stuff, so that's fine to start us off with Marvel Legends pre-orders. Bobby World, let's see what you have to say. For a company that wants to move into gaming, digital technology, they probably should focus on fixing their website first. Yeah, definitely. There was too many glitches with that Cold Slither set. And there's been other glitches in the past. The whole thing with the police officer in June, but I don't think that was the website. That was something to do with Hasbro. I don't know. There's always something going on. And the fact for a while you had to stick your phone number in there like 5 times before it would remember it. And they've done updates. And now if you go back and you update, it'll fix a lot of those issues. So I don't know. I'd have bought several of the Shanna if she was single carded. Shanna is the only one I really want. Yeah, that's the same with me. She's the only one I really want. I would like that Rogue because I think you could do a nice diorama of the Savage Land with Magneto, Nick Fury, Wolverine, and that Rogue. That was a really nice Jim Lee version of Rogue. So I don't know. Depends on the person, I guess. Lone Dragon, but yeah, that's really the only one I really, really wanted was Shanna. So I'm hoping maybe they'll do her as a single release now that they've kind of paid for it with this 3-pack. Now they've got the mold for it or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they already had the mold. Who knows? But I got a bunch of stuff I want to get into today. So this isn't going to be that long of a video. I just want to go over some new stuff that I've gotten, a little bit of the things that I got during Kentuckiana up in Kentucky. And that's a great show. I love going up there, getting to meet a lot of friends and stuff in the community, people that work at other shows, people that I know that go to Joe Fest, and friends of mine. I can't really spend a lot of time with at Joe Fest because I really do a lot more of a managerial thing at Joe Fest than people realize, and I don't have a lot of time on my hands to do socializing as much as I want to. I really want to talk and do more stuff, but I'm so exhausted by the end of the night. Most of those nights I'm just like I fall out and I fell asleep one of the nights, and I lost 4 or 5 hours of socializing because I was so tired of running around. So Kentuckiana is my go-to show. I go up there to visit family and friends and stuff like that, and I get to see a lot of the community, the Joe community. Got to talk to Daryl DePriest, the brand manager for GI Joe and Star Wars, and vice president of toys for Hasbro there for quite a long time. And he goes to that show, and I get to see him every year. And Ron Rudat was there. I got to hang out with him, who I talk about a lot of times on my classified reviews with the design of these figures and stuff like that. And so he's a really nice guy, and I look forward to seeing him whenever I can and chit chatting with him. I've done several interviews with him over the years on my channel as well. If you'd like, you can go back and watch those. And Daryl DePriest, I did a really good interview with him a couple of years back. That's on the channel as well if you want to see that. But I was able to get a couple of things during my trip, and so I'm from Florida, so we typically drive up. We go through Atlanta. We do a bunch of stores in Atlanta. And if you know me, I'm a huge comic book collector, huge comic book fan. I collect all kinds of different comics. So I'm always trying to go through like the half price books, the comic stores, and find good deals on cheap comics, 50 cents, $1 comics. So I'm always buying lots of comics. So I bought like probably 3 half boxes full of random comics. I'm trying to fill in a bunch of gaps on like odd stuff that a lot of comic fans don't really care about nowadays. They're not interested, but it's stuff that I got when I was younger. And in order to get newer stuff, I would sell other stuff to get newer stuff. As a teenager and a kid, just having a part-time job, you tried to maximize your money that you could. Even though comics were a lot cheaper back then, it was still tough as a teenager to try and get all the cool stuff that you wanted. So back then I was buying new comics, and then I was selling old comics. So some of the old comics I sold were the old Valiant, old New Universe, a lot of odds and ends stuff. And I've been now going back trying to fill those gaps in my collection and get them back for my own collection. And like I said, a lot of people don't really care about Valiant or New Universe, Marvel's New Universe, but I did back then, and finding a lot of that very cheap and very easy to get. So it's fun, and I like the comic hunt. Back in the day, I used to do comic hunts, and there used to be all kinds of stores in Florida where I grew up in my later teens. The Giant Comic Book Warehouse was one of those places, and I would like basically do dumpster diving into comic boxes, billions, I mean billions of comics in this Giant Comic Book Warehouse, and I would be filling in gaps of collections and stuff. Thor, Fantastic Four, Captain America, you name it, I was filling in gaps. So I loved hunting comics back in the day, and I still enjoy that. And this right now has got me more excited trying to find all these new universe, new Valiant, and a lot of historical stuff from the 80s that was part of the Malibu universe, which again, not a lot of people care about. I care about it because it's something that I grew up on, and I'm trying to get again. I did a lot of comic book shopping in my trip. So we went to Atlanta, we went to Tennessee, we went to Kentucky, went to Ohio. We got to go to Kings Island in Ohio, spend a day there. And like I said, we went to comic stores all over all these places, bookstores all over these places, all four of these states on the journey. And I was gone for 10 or 11 days and stuff like that. And we were spending time with our family. And then we did Kentucky, and we hit a good friend of mine's store, Dan Thompson's Zone Comics. And he's the author of the Disavowed, the Dominus series of graphic novels. And I picked these up, and I got Dan to autograph them for me. And if you follow my channel and follow me, I also do Toy Talk on Sunday afternoons. We didn't do an episode today, so that's why I'm talking about this today on my channel, the G.I. Joe New News channel. But The Dominus is by Dan Thompson, and he's done 2 graphic novels. He's working on his 3rd, and he has Zone Comics up in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. And so I bought a few comics from him, some Valiant comics, some GI Joe variants um, of issue. I think it was 9. I might have them right here. Let's see if I can pull them out for you guys to look at. Yeah, there's one variant, 1 in 10 variant, and I think the one, just the regular variant, one of the regular variants of GI Joe #9. And this is the continuation of the 2-part story with Raptor, Baroness, and CoverGirl and Major Blood, which is a really cool, fun story. Some interesting stuff ends up happening at the end of that, and a lot of the characterization with the Baroness and different things are happening as well. So that's a fun story. If you are buying the GI Joe Skybound universe, GI Joe is really one of the best GI Joe comics at this point. There's been some great stuff over the years. I use a lot of Larry Hama's reference in the past for my classified reviews. But there's some really good stuff in Larry's runs. There's also some good stuff in the Devil's Due runs. There's also some stuff in IDW that's great. The Costa, Chuckles, Cobra storyline, excellent. Some really good stuff. The Coil storyline and Devil's Due. There's a lot of cool stuff over the decades, but Skybound's really hitting it on all cylinders at the moment. And so is Larry, in fact, on his current series that he's doing through them. So I wanted to show you the Dominus. It's a really interesting, I would say, fantasy, military, and a little bit of faith oriented. So these 3 types of genres mixed into one, the Dominus. I don't want to spoil too much, but if you have an opportunity, go to Zone Comics and catch Dan Thompson's next Kickstarter for the 3rd volume of Dominus and support that. So then one of the things that I've been getting, but it's been very slow in coming, is the Hiya GI Joe figures. And not a lot of people buy Hiya, but I have been buying them. But they've been coming in very slowly. I get a couple here, a couple there. And one of them I found at Kentuckiana was a lady. No, actually, I found that at Joe Fest, in fact. Joe Fest, a Lady J at Joe Fest a couple months ago. And then I got a few other ones, Beachhead, Flint, and Firefly 5 or 6 months ago. And then prior to that, I got a Cobra Commander a few months prior to that. So I've been getting them like a little bit at a time. So I found a place where I can order them, and they just come in very slowly. So the next 3 that I was able to get are Destro, Hiya, and he has a lot of accessories. He's got 2 different guns. He's got his gold encrusted pistol. He's got his backpack. He's got 2 sets of hands. He's got secondary for the pistol. He's got a stand. And I like this this art. I really do like the art that they're using on these. Packaging art. So I think Hiya has been doing a really good job. Oops, I lost my next one. My next Hiya is Zartan. So it seems like I've been getting mostly Cobras in my Hiya. I only have a couple of Joes, Beachhead, Flint, Lady J, and then my next one. But this Zartan is really cool. It's very similar to the vintage Zartan. It has his gun, has his backpack. He's got a set of hands. That's new. He's got the mask that goes in there. I'm thinking that it's a 3D printing mask or backpack like the classified is. And it's really cool too. I love these Hiya. They're much more detailed, 4-inch scale figures. And there's the packaging on that. So they're more expensive than the average 4-inch GI Joe figure, but I'm an all-in collector, so I try to get things that are reasonable, manageable. I can't afford things that are like in the hundreds, figures that are in the hundreds. These are in the $25 range, so I can't afford them. It's the shipping from where I'm getting them from. That's the difficult part. And then, so my next one is Gung Ho. And Gung Ho is kind of a mixture of the classified version 1 and the classified version 2. Now, these are all these aesthetics are based on the earlier classified aesthetics. Now, Gung Ho, he's got 3 different guns, he's got 2 sets of hands, he's got a cool backpack and a stand, and that art looks really cool on there as well. So I do not open my Haya figures because they're so rare and expensive that I'm not going to open them up. But I have been trying to get them. So this brings me up to 8 Haya figures for the time being. I have more on order. So as they come in, I will show them off to you guys and go over them a little bit at a time. So I hope anybody out there that's buying Haya toys, G.I. Joes, they appreciate those. And then one of my favorite things that I love about Mask is the Hurricane. On my way back from Kentucky and my trip, I stopped off at a really good friend of mine's house store, Full Circle Toys in Noonan, Georgia, and they have reset their store and got a new location, and it is phenomenal. If you're in the Georgia area and you can go there, it's a bit southwest, an hour southwest of Atlanta. It's about 6 hours from me in Florida, but it is phenomenal. They have tons of video game stuff, they have records, they have comics, really cheap comics, tons and tons of toys, and her prices are very reasonable. And she gifted me with my favorite Mask vehicle, the Hurricane. And this is very significant at the moment because we just got the next tease for the Mask Loyal Subjects line, one of them being my favorite vehicle, the Hurricane, and then the purple truck one, which I can't remember the name of it, and then 2 blank spots. So it's going to be another 4 vehicle wave of Mask vehicles. I'm hoping that we get all the Loyal Subject stuff to my company store, Walmart, and I'll be able to get them there cheaper instead of through Big Bad Toy Store, which is a lot higher priced, premium with shipping and all that stuff. So I'm hoping we get them to mass market in the fall and they're going to be cheaper. That's my hope anyways. All right, so I got that at Full Circle Toys in Noonan, Georgia. Kelly and Richard Mix, wonderful, phenomenal people. So then another item, something that I've been getting very slowly because they're so expensive. And I was on my vacation and I was at, again, Full Circle Toys in Noonan, Georgia. I got the next one of my Night Force vehicles. I am now down to 2 Night Force vehicles to complete my original 82 to 94 vintage collection, and this is incredible. There's only one bit that's broken, and it's this satellite, and she gave me the parts to fix it and stuff like that. So I have the apparatus to fix it. So one of these days I'll get my friend Jason to come and help me with that. He does a lot of vehicle repairs and stuff, and he fixes things for me when I have things that are broken and need paint jobs and stuff. My friend Jason does that. So Jason, if you're watching this, thank you. I had a hole in that bag, so I don't want to lose those parts. So I'm just going to wrap this back up. So put that back in there. So yeah, I've got 2 more vehicles for my Night Force to complete every single G.I. Joe vehicle in the 82 to 94 range, in the vintage range. And so that's going to be the Night Boomer and whatever the Night Moray is, are 2 very expensive vehicles, and they're upwards of $500 each on the aftermarket. So all these vehicles I've gotten fairly reasonable. I think the Night Force Whale is the one that I spent the most on. That was $500. So that's why I can't go and get these like right off the bat. If I like hit the lotto or something, maybe I could go and get them right away. But I have to do them every year, maybe one a year, and I'm very close. Once I finish those two off, which I have a line on too, and I'm not a mint complete person, so they don't have to be 100% perfect like this one here isn't. It's got a damaged satellite dish, but I'm not a mint complete. As long as I have it, it's mostly intact. I can live with that. Even my whale, I spent $500, and one of the tail fins is a repro tail fin that matches exactly. So I'm okay with that because I'm not that anal retentive about this stuff that most people are. Um, so what else? I got to enjoy myself at Kentuckiana. It's in I'm trying to remember where Kentuckiana is. It's typically at the end of July before San Diego Comic-Con. It's always the week before. Um, it's a little bit south of Louisville, Kentucky. Is Kentuckiana. If anybody in the chat knows, put it in there because I cannot remember the town that it's in. But they have a really nice venue. There's tons and tons of stuff, all kinds of cool toys there, and all kinds of vintage G.I. Joe, but also 12-inch. There's a very large 12-inch G.I. Joe community at Kentuckiana. I'm not a 12-inch collector. I do have some 12-inch stuff here and there and some Action Man and stuff. Just random stuff that I've just happened to come across and I got at a decent price. But I'm not a all-in 12-inch collector because it would just be too much because it's too large. I am an all-in pretty much everything else from G.I. Joe Real American Hero 82 to now. I have stuff from every single era and most of everything from most of those eras. Just a little smidge of things from different parts of those eras. Like I'm still trying to get some of the stuff from the late 90s and a few vehicles from the early 2000s. And I'm trying to get the FSS Club. I've been just getting them, a couple here, a couple there. So there's stuff that I'm still hunting, still stuff that I'm trying to get. I have like about 20 FSS figures, but there's probably about 100 of them. So I've got a long way to go on the FSS figures. I only get those when I find them at decent prices. And the same thing with these Night Force vehicles. I only get them when I can get them at a decent price. I think that's the right point to get them. The same with the Hi-Eye. I try to get them the best prices. So I'm a very frugal buyer. I don't just buy stuff for the hell of it. I wanted to give you also an update on my new display. I'm going to be starting to open some vehicles and stuff like that. I'm going to start with the very first HasLab. Since that is not classified, I'm going to open that one first. And I will open up the other HasLabs as they come across with the numbering. So we're following the numbering, obviously. We're up to the mid 30s. So eventually we're going to get to the Hiss, but I'm going to do the Sky Striker first. And it'll go on this display that I've built in the back here. I've readjusted my room so I can incorporate a lot of the classified figures and vehicles into my display to save some space in other aspects of my house because it is difficult to store all this stuff. So I've got some risers, I've got some really cool things, and all the HasLabs have really cool display options as well. So that will be opened up probably this week sometime, the Sky Striker, with all the figures and all the cool stuff that came with it. So stay tuned to that video. That's going to be a fun video. Hopefully everything else will be settled and set up before I do that. That'll be the first thing I put into this display is that Sky Striker. It's going to go center stage right here. Then we'll put the Sky Strike, the the Dragonfly, and then the Rattler will go up there, and then we'll put the Hiss and the Snowcat. So, and then on the sides will be risers for figures and stuff like that. So, I'm looking forward to doing that and having fun and getting that all built up. And trying to rework this entire room has been very difficult. It's been a couple of weeks in the process of moving things and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of other videos coming up. We're going to be going hot and heavy on the classified reviews. I think I told you guys during the Storm Shadow one, we're going to be doing Spirit next. I have a lot to say about Spirit. And then we have the Cobra Officer will be after that. And there's going to be a lot of comparison for him too, because I've got to go over a bunch of odd things involving that Hasbro has done. So those two videos are going to be fairly long videos coming up. So I appreciate you guys tuning in again. If you have any questions, you want to ask anything, feel free. I have some time here. We can do a question and answer session now that I've gone over everything I wanted to go over. Um, and so that is everything. Along with the hurricane and the other next wave, we're also going to be getting a 40th anniversary mask wave that is going to be all gold and black. There's also going to be a cool Miles Mayhem that was on in the toy line. That's a variant Miles Mayhem. That's the I think it's like Technic or whatever, Miles Mayhem, that's gonna have red pants and the gold and black epaulette and everything on. And so that's going to be coming with the Switchblade for the 40th anniversary. So I don't know if I'll get any of the 40th anniversaries. I'm not even sure if I can get all the regular versions. All depends if they come out at a more reasonable price in mass market through Walmart or someplace like that where they're cheaper. Then I'll get them. But I'm not going to spend the prices that Big Bad Toy Store is asking, because if you wanted the first four, it comes out to like over $350 with shipping and handling and all that stuff. And I'm just not prepared to do that. I buy enough toys as it is. I would love to get the Loyal Subjects masks to go with my Loyal Subject gem doll, but I've got to be careful. And I know everybody out there is watching their pennies and watching their wallets and stuff. We've got a lot of pre-orders coming in. And then there's also the HasLab that we're watching out for. It is currently, the last time I checked, 76626 was the last time I checked. So I would love for the HasLab to come through and get funded by tomorrow, which is Monday. I'm doing this video on Sunday. I'm very nervous that we're not going to make all the tiers, but I really hope we can get the vehicle. I don't feel it's really worth the $325 for the vehicle and Frostbite and all the accessories and stuff that comes with it. I would like to try to get some of those tiers. You guys, if you're watching this and you can manage to get the HasLab, please do. It's very nerve-wracking to see this on a daily basis. It keeps going up and down and up and down. The numbers, we can't seem to get up to that 8,000 backers for the last week or two. It's gone up and down, and I guess it's doing okay based on the tracker. There's a tracker that some people have created with all the HasLabs, and it's technically above the tracking of the Sky Striker. Sky Striker went very slow. We ended up getting most of the tiers unlocked except for the last Ketchup and Mustard I think we missed out on. But from what they're saying, it's above that. It's still scaling above that faster. And I think it's something to do with the amount of money that it costs. I think because the HasLab Snowcat is $325, I believe the Sky Striker was only 275. So I think maybe the money is the reason why it's tracking higher, a little bit higher. The last 4 days always feel like there's a surge. Yeah, there's going to be a surge, Bobby World. I believe you're right. I would like to see it moving now, to see that we have some momentum and get it going. I really want that. I don't want it to be the last 4 days, because I want to have a little bit of faith that it's going to fund, and then try to get those tiers the last 4 days. That's really where I would like it to be. Um, so that's where things are for the HasLab. I wasn't too thrilled with the Star Wars HasLab. I know that we've gotten that vehicle before, a smaller scale version. And this is a larger scale version, even though it's still the vintage scale for Star Wars. It's got all the bells and whistles and everything, and stuff like that. It's got pilots and this and that. I think we could have got something better. Maybe like a Death Star playset. We got the Tatooine playset. Why couldn't we have gotten the Death Star playset? That would have been really cool, with all kinds of bells and whistles. Boy, that would have been awesome. I'm also a Star Wars collector, so I do get vintage Star Wars. I do get Black Series. So that's another reason why I'm being very careful about the mask stuff at this point, and trying to save money. And that's why I try to be very frugal about what I'm buying and how much I'm spending on it. That's why I buy comics, vintage comics, for like 25 cents, 50 cents, a dollar. So a lot of modern comics are more expensive. So any questions out there? Lone Dragon, Bobby World, anybody else in the chat? I got some time if you guys want to chit chat for a little while. But if not, then I can close this out. All right. Well, I guess that does it, I suppose. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody that watches after the fact. I appreciate that very much. Helps this channel grow. I said it in the last video. We're going to try and do a Street Fighter figure every 100 subs. So we already did Ryu, and then we're going to do Ken next. So every time we get 100, we're going to try and open a Street Fighter. So we're, I think, 100, like 30 or so subs at the moment, somewhere in that range. So spread these videos, share, like, hit the subscribe. And the more interaction we get, the better it is for the channel, because I want to share as much as I can with you guys. And I like talking about this stuff with you guys and getting the interactions. And it's fun. I really enjoy it. And I enjoy talking to all you guys and getting everybody's perspectives and inputs and stuff like that. So thanks again. And I guess we will see you in the next one. Yo, Joe!